Today we'll be canning homemade vegetable soup, and I used my own recipe, and I'm going to follow the ball canning guide on how to preserve vegetable beef soup. These are ingredients that I have canned individually and things I've grown in my garden, some things that I bought organically, tomato juice that I canned, stewed tomatoes, oriental yard long beans, dry beans, corn, English peas, onions, all kinds of goodies, and fresh ground beef. I almost didn't have enough room, but I got my carrots and celery added in as well. So now that's everything that I intend to have in this soup. The stock pot is completely full. So I'm going to get my jars ready and my canner ready. This will be a hot pack method. My soup is hot and my jars are in the dishwasher. They're hot, and my lids and rings will be hot. Okay, I've got my jars getting hot in the pressure canner, making dual use. I've got my hot soup. I've got my rings and lids back here getting hot, and I've got my other supplies right here handy. My vinegar spray, my vinegar cloth already saturated, my lifter, my debubbler, and my magnetized lifter. And I got an extra towel here just in case I need it. Funnel. The only thing I'm going to be doing next is moving the jars over here so I can begin filling them. As you can see, everything is steamy hot. Okay, so I've got my ball canning book, and I'm on page 402, which is vegetable soup. Now this does not include the beef. I've added beef, so I'm going over to the beef stew with vegetables, even though it's not listed as vegetable beef. For ground beef, it's a 90-minute canning session for quart jars, because on the regular vegetable soup without beef, it's only 85 minutes. So I want to be extra cautious, and I'm going to add that extra 5 minutes and do 90 minutes, because that's what I always do on meats anyway. For my altitude and pressure, that's what I'm comfortable with. That is erring on the side of caution. So like I said, refer to this book or the USDA Food and Nutrition Guide. You can look at both of these online. You can Google ball canning recipes. So let's get going. Okay, I already started with this jar a little bit just because I'm messy Marvin sometimes, and I did make a mess on my stove. So I fill mostly with vegetables, and then I add extra juice just because that's how we like it. The Two Patient crew likes cornbread, and PoorBoy likes crackers. So gotta have a little liquid, but I just scoop up a majority of it to fill at least 3/4 before I add juice. And then I just fill it up to the 1-inch headspace. We'll be wiping our jars down in just a little bit. This is a little messy because it is a soup, but it's going to be so handy to have on the shelf this winter. I use lots of potatoes for them. That's what they like. You can make your recipe the way you want to. Mine is just mostly vegetables out of the garden, and then I added the ground beef. I used tomato juice that I had canned from tomatoes. I saved every bit of that, and I used stewed tomatoes, carrots, oriental yard long green beans. You can use regular ones, but I had a lot of those, so I'm making use of them. We will need to debubble. Once we get our jars full, we'll go back and do that. This is just a messy process. And I'm doing different size jars, but you're going to go with the longest time, which is the 90 minutes. But I am doing some quart and pints, because a pint jar, that's 2 good servings for the 2-patient crew. Sometimes they even have a few bites left over that Maggie gets to enjoy. But most of the time I can split it pretty even between them, and that'll take care of them. I'll probably get more than 1 canning session out of it. I may get 2 or close to it. I've got some other things that can be canned. And as you can see, I overfilled that one just a little bit. So I'm going to get a spoon and get that out of there. I'm going to continue filling these, and then we'll come back and debubble. Alrighty, we've got our jars filled, so we're going to take our debubbler and just move things around. You know, it's liquid, so it's going to be easier to debubble. And there is a little bit of a greasy film from the ground beef, and that's okay. You just got to be sure you leave your head space. If you don't, you're going to get some serious siphoning, which doesn't necessarily hurt your product. It just takes away your liquid, and then when you're heating it up, you have to add liquid and all that. So it also means that you want to really, really wipe the rims of your jars super well. Okay, so we've debubbled, and we're gonna really take our time and wipe this super good, because we don't want any siphoning. It makes such a mess in the canner, and I want to be running my canner most of the day today. I'd hate to have to stop and let it completely cool down to enough to handle it, to rinse it and all that washing stuff. It just, yeah, I'd rather just wipe and wipe and wipe, because this is a messy job. Soups are always a little messier, but I've got my parchment paper down here, and that's going to make cleanup a snap. The grandbabies have been here this morning. Their mommy took them down the road to the park to play for a little bit and burn off some energy. So they'll be back soon, and I'll be entertaining grandbabies, but I'm also going to be canning a lot today. So the lid rims are completely wiped. I'm comfortable with that. I'm going to get my lids, and they are hot. Let's see. I've already got my jar space in the way I want. Y'all know I'm silly about that, but I like them one way. Okay. And we're just going to put that on there finger tight, not cranking on it. You crank on it, you're going to have issues. My water is already boiling over here, which is awesome. So I can just put my lids on and set them in the canner. And rock and roll. Finger tight. Last one. Last one and done. Into the canner it goes. And we'll put the lid on and let it come up to pressure. And I've got that backwards. Follow the arrows, Anna. Follow the arrows. Okay. That turn around. And I still have this much soup left in this pot, so I will be canning again. Clean up my mess. What a breeze. So many good uses for compostable parchment paper. All right, we're gonna let that come up to pressure, vent off for 10 minutes. Then we'll set our timer for 90 minutes, and I'll show you the finished product. While round one is in the canner, and it's already vented off, it's getting ready to be weighted at this pressure. I went ahead and jarred up round 2, but I put them in these pots with water, hot water, and I'll keep them heated to keep the jars hot until this is complete, and these can go in after I add more hot water to this when it's time for round 2. Providing there's no siphoning and that I don't have to let that come down and wash it and put fresh water in it. If everything works as planned, then I should be able to add hot water to get the level where it needs to be again and add these jars in. But this is my hack. Just keep them in hot water. That even keeps the lids and the rings hot. And you'll be ready to go for the next round. As you can see, that one stock pot that I had full of soup, did a canner full, another canner full. May could use one more jar, but I decided to have supper for the 2 patient crew and PoorBoy tonight. I love vegetable stews and soups, but it's a lot of carbs. Vegetable carbs nonetheless, but it's still a lot of carbs, so I have to stay away from that. But it'll be good for them, and it's very handy. Okay, first round is done. I do have a little bit of siphoning I can see in there that's going to have to be cleaned out before second round. And this is the first round of vegetable soup completed.